What's shaking, guys? My name is Luke Dancy, and we are here on a Wednesday. It is noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time, or a different time wherever you are out there in the world. We are live and excited to chat with you guys today about playing cards. You guys love cards. We've got a lot of card collectors out there that watch. Also have a lot of fans out there and friends that love to dabble with cards, either they're professionals, whatever. We've got something very excited to tell you about today. I think the person that's the most excited about this, though, is Mr. Alex Pandrea, the guy behind the NOC Originals and the rest of the other decks of cards he's put out. We'll talk about all those and a lot of other stuff. I have Alex with me live today, and we're actually going to be debuting the NOC Originals today. This isn't just one deck. This is like a whole new line of cards that you're going to love to check out. And I'm stoked to have you guys here and joining us both on our YouTube channel and over on our Facebook page too. So it's going to be really cool. I'm also going to do something you guys should be doing. I'm going to be sharing this right now on our social media. So if you're watching over on Facebook, drop a share. And if you are watching over on YouTube, feel free to share the link out there too. But I'm going to do this right now over on our Instagram so that I can let the people out there know that we are live as well. So let me do that. And don't forget, we do these each and every Wednesday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We are live, and it's always a lot of fun. And today's going to be a lot of fun because we do have someone I've known for quite a long time, actually. I've known Alex Pandrea for quite a while, and I'm excited for him to finally give you all the details about the brand new NOC Originals. All right, so that is now officially an IG story. So I think we can now kick off the show, which means I can also bring in my guest. He's looking awful cool today. I'm talking about Mr. Alex Pandrea. What's shaking, buddy?
Yo, yo, yo. What's going on?
Stevie Wonder. What's going on? Are you there? Hello?
I'm there.
Oh, no.
Can y'all
I don't hear you for some reason. Let me
we good? Are we
find
good?
out what's going on with the audio here. That's odd.
Hello, hello, hello.
You guys can't hear him, can you? Oh, I know what I did. I'm the fool. I put my audio on mute. I hear you now. All right, so we are good to go.
Nobody wants to hear me. They just want to see the cards.
No. They want to see you. No one wants to see cards. What are you talking about? No one wants to see that. Yeah, whatever.
They want to see Alex Pandrea drink beer out of a wine glass.
Is that what's going on over there? Is that what's up?
This is my tradition whenever I do a live. I guess it's been so this summer. If you see me from the waist down, my belly is huge. I can't walk anymore, and I have to Photoshop my images before I post them on Instagram. It's a little...
Interesting. A little Photoshop action going on. All right, so we are here to talk a little bit about the NOC cards, the originals, I should say. And there's a lot of new things with these cards that are very, very exciting. And I don't want to take away the fun here. I'm going to let you give the guys the details. There's two really big things we want to let people know. And I'm going to start to show some of the images of these cards while you break down maybe a little bit of the history on these and now pretty much how they are now as a brand new series of cards. So I'll let you take it away, Alex Pandrea.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We have a whole bunch of people I see in the chat. So Luke, I mean, if there's questions in the chat, you could relay them to me, but I'm going to kind of put this video up so I can see myself while I do this. I have a bunch of the new NOCs right here and a little bit of history behind the NOCs. So I call them NOCs. You could call them NOCs. You could call them basically whatever you want, right? It's a free country. You do whatever you want. You call them whatever you want. But back in 2012, I started the NOCs for a specific reason. And the reason I do call it NOCs is something that I only, and I told you this yesterday, Luke, while Skyping, I only tell people in person because it really gets this reaction of, oh, damn. Right?
Yeah, that's what I did, right? Yeah.
When you do say it. So I don't put it online anywhere, and the only people that do know about the name is the people who ask me in person, and they go, hey, Alex, what does NOC stand for? And then I tell them, and they go, oh, man, damn it. Why did I think of that? So there is something behind the name, but the original, and actually I have this here, so let me show you what this came from. 2 seconds. I also did this, I showed this off in my YouTube video.
Okay.
So if people don't know, I started a YouTube channel, woohoo.
Oh yeah.
And I explained this on there too, but this is where the idea came from for the Knox. When I was about 10 years old, so that's like 20 years ago now, I'm turning 30 next month. And I walked into Tannen's Magic Shop and I bought a trick called Beyond ESP. It was a Michael Murray effect, and it was with ESP cards. So I have the original version kept in a little packet trick wallet that I have for 20 years.
Oh my God.
And these are the actual ones. I think it was like, I don't know, 40 bucks for this deck or 30 bucks for this deck. And they were ESP cards in a deck, half with a blank red back and half with a blank back that's black. So if you guys see that right there, this was what I bought when I was 10 years old. And the cool thing about these were that they were marked. So there's a secret marking system similar to now what we use on the Knox for this ESP trick. And there's a really cool stuff that you can do with it. It comes with a little packet thing. So it's a Michael Murray effect. So I saw this and I was like, man, this would make such a dope deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was 10 years old, and there was no custom playing cards at that time. There was nothing. And I was like, oh, imagine if this was actually a deck and not ESP cards. And I put it on a full deck of cards, probably Bicycle at that time, and I put it on top like this, and I was like, wow, that looks great in my hand, right? So I've had this idea for many years, from 10 years old, fast forward till when I was probably 20, let me think, 5 years ago, so probably when I was 25 or earlier, I decided that, hey, you know what, I started putting out the crown decks and all of that sort of stuff, and I'm launching this new site that should have a standard deck of cards, and what's more standard is just one color. So I remembered these, and I remembered the marking system, and I didn't want to. So I just put out the first versions exactly like these, and it was a hit or miss. I thought either people are going to like them or hate them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was 50-50. I would tell people about it, and half the people were like, wow, that's actually really cool, and then half the people were like, yo, that's boring. What the hell? Who's going to use that? So, but you got to go with your gut, right? So I went with my gut. And I stuck with it. I printed the first versions, and they sold out almost immediately. I remember that night. I had a whole bunch of people over at my house for sort of the launch party. And at the same time, when people were like having drinks and popping bottles of wine and champagne, I was behind my computer, right? I haven't slept in 3 days trying to put up this site. And I launched it, and then within like 10 minutes or so, they were almost gone. It was insane.
That's sick.
And that sort of started the craze of people loving these cards, which is obviously cool, right? Obviously, for me, we're creating something. And I don't say the most creative design anything, but I am proud of the brand that we built over the years for something as simple as just a one color. So with that being said, the 5 colors, the original colors were red, blue, yellow, green, and purple. And over the years, black was the most popular, right? Black has sold more than any one particular color. So we got rid of the purple for this one, and now we have red. I'll show you guys the photos.
Oh yeah.
We got red. We got blue. We got green. Yellow. And we've introduced black as a standard color.
I know a lot of people are excited about that one, dude.
Yeah. So finally, if you could tell, the tuck cases are different, and I was trying to think, how can I make them more minimal at the same time, bumping it up a notch in how they look, right, to make them feel new, and sort of like how iPhone does the big releases every 2 years or whatever it is.
No.
And every time you think, well, what else can they do? What else can make it thinner, make it whatever, right? And design is always a big aspect. So we actually as simple as this is, we did work a lot on the design of how to make this as minimal and as elegant as possible. So with that being said, these are the 5 colors. The blacks are now in a black tuck, which a lot of people before were like, are these white NOCs? Or I don't get it, because it was a white tuck. But now they're in a black one, which is obviously going to make everything easier to understand when it comes to this series. But yeah, that's what they are. We have a new Ace of Spades. So there's the Ace of Spades.
Nice.
And there it is from my Instagram peeps. We have a new Joker.
Can I ask you a question about the Joker since you're holding that up? You were showing the Michael Murray cards earlier and how the inspiration for some of the back design kind of stuck in your head for a while. Is that based on the same, one of the symbols from that deck? Because it looks a lot like the star, of course, in the ESP deck. Is that where you drew inspiration from for that too?
Yeah, now that you asked me that, that's very funny because I hadn't thought of it until now because I never actually had these two together, I guess, right? Exactly like I'm doing now.
Cool.
But that is a good point. The original ones were not with, they were just filled in as a star. Mm-hmm. But I guess I never really thought about it. That could be actually a thing. That's where the inspiration came from.
Subconscious.
There you go, Luke.
That's pretty cool. So we saw the Joker. We saw the Ace of Spades. Are there any other things in here that are custom that you want to tell people about, or do you want to let people find them for themselves if there are some other hidden things? Of course, there's some other details we want to talk about with the deck, but I want to make sure you get all the deets out.
Yeah, so let's open one up and let's see what we get, right?
Cool.
When you're going to open up this deck of cards, and before I go into this, it's very important that people understand that this is supposed to be a deck that you use day to day, right? So yes, you can get it for your collection and they will look nice on the wall and everything, but we've made it this price that we have, $5-6, right? Mm-hmm. Because we want you to use them and feel comfortable using them so that you know that they're in stock. Now, I know over the years they've constantly sold out just because the demand is literally more than we can keep up with, right? Because printing takes a while, and for the last 3 years we printed with Expert Playing Card Company, right. Which that is the big news really of today's event, is that they are now printed with USPC. Because I wish I would have saved for 3 years the amount of messages I got about how people were complaining about Expert Playing Card Company and how either they're too stiff or whatever. So if you notice, and we've had them on Murphy's for the last 3 years on and off, but they were the sideways tuck, right? So the sideways tuck was a very nice touch. And now there's a whole bunch of people putting out sideways tucks, but this was my original idea, and USPC couldn't do it at first, which they still can't do it really. You have to get a whole custom plate made, and it's quite a process. But when I talked to Bill Kalush about this idea, he said, "Yeah, let's do it." So these were the ones that were available, but a lot of people did not like the quality. I love the quality. I'll be honest with you. I still love the way that these feel. But for USPC nuts, these feel exactly like a bicycle deck. Even better because for custom, they take more time to actually get their stuff right, let's say. Mm-hmm. So when you're opening up this deck, you'll notice that we have a few. So there's always add cards, right? Yep. Deck, but a lot of people put either double backers or things like that. So we've decided to include obviously the 2 jokers, the regular deck and new deck order, and then the 2 cards are a bonus Queen of Hearts. So you get a duplicate, which has been from I think the 2nd version. We put a duplicate in there because isn't it awesome to have a duplicate in your deck already?
Oh yeah, dude.
Right? There's so many things that you could do with this. So Queen of Hearts is the standard, I think, force card that you would ask, especially when you ask females. So do me a favor, name your favorite card. If you could see yourself as a card, what would it be? And chances are they would go for Queen of Hearts. If they don't go for Queen of Hearts, possibly they would go to Ace of Hearts. So I noticed those two. So Queen of Hearts is very good because you could sort of force it verbally and then continue on to your effect from there. So this is why we included the Queen of Hearts. And then we also have a blank card. And blank card is, we did this honestly because we had to have the sheets of the faces all the same. Mm-hmm. So we couldn't have double backers or whatever. But I like blank cards better because there's a few things that I do with the blank card that I think is better than a double backer. Right? Because a double backer, everybody knows the only thing they could do is do a double lift and then push off a single card, right? The majority of people out there, this is what they use a double backer for, right? To take the card, do a double lift, and then push off one card.
Yep.
And I don't think that's enough of a reason to just keep a double backer with you, because that just means you're lazy to not want to do a double lift. Let's be honest. Right? Everybody here watching, don't be lazy. I put up a tutorial on the push off double lift. Work your butt off for a little bit, and it'll be worth it.
Yep.
So that's what you're gonna get, and then a whole deck of these, I think, really nice cards. So
and can we stop for a second too? I want to make sure that you don't get too far, because there is one other big secret about this deck that I've seen some people asking about, if there's a certain feature with these cards. So I want to get the guys. We're pushing 50 viewers right now on YouTube. You guys, give this video a thumbs up right now. If we can get this, we've got about 15 thumbs ups right now. If you want Alex to tell you what the big secret is with this new deck, give it a thumbs up right now. If we can get this up to about 30, there's 50 of you watching right now. If we get up to at least 30 thumbs ups, we'll tell you what the other secret is. We're up to 20 now, so Alex, we'll let them decide whether or not you should give them the new Ds. We got 27. You guys can get us up to at least 50 here, I'm sure. So we got 27. Push 30, 31. All right, Alex, we're to the point now. So whenever you feel like it, you can share what the other big secret is with these cards, because I'm very excited about it, and I know that you are too. So of course the USPCC stuff is amazing. I'm so glad that's here. But I think
that's what people are going to be. That's when I started posting pictures and things like that, people were most excited about USPC, right?
Yeah.
And NOCs have become like a drug for people. But I noticed one thing over the last years, and I've never really made this as put it in the public light. The only way that you knew about this is that either you downloaded a free PDF that came after you ordered it, and you might not have seen it, or if I told you about it in person. So I realized over the 5 years that the NOCs have been in existence, the majority of people do not know that they are marked and marked for suit. So we've put out many versions. We put out the regular versions of NOCs. We've put out signature series, we've put out summer editions, etc. And you've seen the phases of all of them, but all the NOCs, with the exception of the first version, the V1s, all right, are marked for suit. So by the back, you can tell if it's clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, with a marking system that mimics, going back to history, Michael Murray's ESP cards. Now, I met up with Michael Murray. I spoke with him. He gives us his blessings on it. He loves the NOCs. And the marking system is depicting this sort of method of from the corners, and I'll explain everything in a second. How can you mark these cards? From the corners, you can tell if it's clubs, hearts, spades, or diamonds. Now, with that being said, a lot of people still maybe back a couple of months ago, or even I think last couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago, Magic Live happened here in Vegas. And at big conventions, I used to get a dealer's booth, and I used to have the NOCs out on the dealer's booth, and they'd look all pretty and colorful, and people would be like, oh, cool, yeah, I love those cards. And I go, you know about the NOCs? And they're like, yeah, of course, I have a bunch. And I go, they're marked, right? I always said this question to them, and they always gave me a look like, that's funny. And they started walking away, and I go, no, come back. You know that these cards are marked, and I'm being dead serious. And people were shocked. right? Which shocked me even more. People were shocked that these cards, that people that didn't know that they were marked. So I started explaining the system to them, and they go, I have so many decks at home, I could do this trick now because I explained the trick, and that's what I'm going to do now, live here. I'm going to explain the marking system and the trick that you can do with it. Now, just in case, I'll do it now, but I did record a video of myself doing it as well, and that's up on my YouTube channel, so you can search my name on YouTube and find that when this live is done,
cool.
If you want to refer back to it.
Cool.
But it's very simple, all right? If you look at the cards, and if probably chances are at home you have a few decks, right? So go ahead, grab a card, and start looking at the corners. Now the corners, there's 4 corners, obviously, on a rectangular shaped card, right? 4 corners. Now the corners either could be sharp or round. So in this case, okay, now I know we're on YouTube here and the quality might not be that great because I'm on my webcam, but these are the corners I'm talking about, the black corners, right? So this is the black card. In this case, it would be the red corners, right? The corners of the color of the card. Now they're going to either be sharp or round. Now all you have to remember is this. If it's, let's assign values to each suit. Very easy. Spades is number 1. Okay? Spades is 1, obviously, because there's 1 point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Hearts is 2 because look, 2 hearts. Yeah, you break a heart out, 2 pieces. You right? Good. For all the lovers out there, clubs. There's 3, right? 3 elements on a club. Right? I don't have to really explain this too much because people understand. Obviously, there's 3 elements on a club. So clubs is 3, and diamonds is 4. All right, so we assign those. Now you know spades 1, hearts 2, clubs 3, and diamonds 4. And all you have to do is count the sharps. If you look at the corners and one of them is sharp and the other ones are round, you know it's a spade. If 2 of them are sharp and the other ones are round, you know it's a heart.
It's awesome, dude.
If 3 of them are sharp, it's a club. If all 4 are sharp, it's a diamond. And if none are sharp, then anybody?
Joker.
There you go.
Bam.
Joker. So as long as you know that, there's a bunch of routines that you can do with it. One of the earlier things that I tried to do, and granted, you do have to see the full card for this, right, to get the marking system. But if you guys know Pitt Harling's Color Sense, it's a very nice routine in his book Card Fictions. So if anybody wants to research that, it's called Color Sense, and I love this routine so much. Basically, it's guessing the color of the cards after they shuffle the deck. Right? The spectator shuffled. You make 4 piles. You tell them to choose a pile, hold it under the table, and they do so. And then you start guessing the colors, feeling the colors through the table, right? Red, black, black, red. And it's a very, very nice routine. But you can mix that in and do it a step better, because with those, you have to actually memorize and look at the, without saying too much, look at the faces of the card, right? So there's a system in place that you can actually get the colors through a memorizing process, but you have to look at the faces, obviously. But with these, if you get it down to almost like doing it where you do it a couple times, and you'll just see them start to pop out. So you get the marking system down. You can actually go through them and pretty quickly get the color and then do this effect. So that's one thing that you can do with it.
Cool. Also, just so that as a reference, you mentioned the video. I guess for everybody that's also watching this on demand after this goes up, if you want to throw me that link, we'll put it in the description here too, so you guys can go watch the video if maybe some of this went a little too quick for you. As a reference later. Would you be cool with that, Alex? We could do that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that way the guys can get a better look at the markings and all that. And I actually see some people I want to mention too. My buddy Bob Miller says I had no clue they were marked, so that's pretty cool. I think a lot of people are surprised to hear that. I know you mentioned the same thing at conventions, but a lot of people had no clue because of just the design. People think there's no way that could be marked at all. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. And I just see Alex dropped me a link, so I will definitely throw that into the description here, so you guys can check out the video that he's referencing too about the marking. So I'll let you get back to that. But I did want to drop it in because a lot of people, again, are surprised. They're like, no way. I had no clue these things were marked. So
yeah, and if you've seen we put out a signature series we've done myself, Danny DeOrtiz, Laura London, and we're going to continue doing that series.
Murphy's Magic. Hello.
And the idea behind that is to do a fully marked system, which I want to incorporate in the NOCs and the NOC Originals eventually. Now, I've worked on a system and it was not very good for many years. So don't go by the fully marked system on any other decks of NOCs. The really good fully marked system will come soon,
cool.
Probably next year or something. But this is just for the suit only, and I think I'm getting close to finding a very good fully marked system for these, which are going to be interesting. But that's to be seen in the later months and possibly next year of how everything, sort of, because we obviously have to do printing tests and things like that.
Oh yeah, this doesn't just happen overnight, guys. This stuff takes time. Speaking of time, some people were asking about, this is the time right now when these are being debuted. People are saying, any deals on these cards, where to get them? Augustine, these are going to be in Magic shops worldwide. This is something that you will be able to get your hands on very, very soon, all over the world. The NOC Originals, I think these will start to become a standard in the Magician's arsenal of stuff because, as Alex pointed out earlier, the price point on these is so cheap. Again, what are they running? $5 or $6 a pack?
Yeah, $5-6. I mean, it depends on obviously where you get them. A lot of people might give like bulk discounts. I'm not really sure because we are releasing this worldwide. Yeah. And this is the great thing about this project. It's really become 3 years in the making because we have, and Murphy's has had these ones for the longest time. The ones with the sideways box, these are the V3s, and then we had a second printing of V3S. So going along with the 6S's and like the iPhone. But it was the second printing, that's why the S was there. So you guys have had this for the longest time, for the last 3 years, and constantly would be trying to keep up with the demand of it.
No.
Right? Demand was always higher than what we could have supplied, right? And for the last, I'm trying to think of when this process started, and if I'm not mistaken, it's really started back in the beginning of this year, possibly at the end of last year, December, January, and we're now into September. Yeah, so it was very important for us to release this worldwide so that everybody, no matter where they are in the world, can find a place where you could get them through Murphy's, obviously the biggest distributor in the world. And they make sure that everybody and every part of the world will have these NOCs constantly. So we're trying really hard to keep these in stock constantly so you can never worry about them selling out and not opening a deck, right? You're worried about opening a deck and then you're like, oh, but if I use them, I know I can't get them anymore. It's hopefully not going to be the case. We've made a bunch that hopefully everybody will be in stock of them. But, as I'm looking at this, I see orders coming in on my end, and they're quite a lot. So do get your hands on them wherever you can, in your favorite Magic shop. And if they don't have them, do ask, hey, do you have the new NOCs? And they will get them in, I'm sure of it. Right, Luke?
Oh, absolutely, man. We're excited to finally have a chance to get these out and about to the rest of the people. And the dealers out there, they'll be sending out notifications. You'll start to see them listed on the sites, too. I had a question for you, too, Alex. You mentioned something earlier that I have said a lot when I do any kind of videos. People ask me, Luke, what's your favorite custom deck? What are your, they weren't around. At least they weren't around like this, I guess. There might have been one or two when we were around, but even those were more not really what they are now with the custom decks. I mean, this whole industry of custom cards, isn't it crazy now? And as someone that's right in the middle of all that, can you share some insight? We're not going to detract too much about the NOCs or too far off that because I don't want to keep you too much longer either, about another 10 minutes, guys. If you have questions for Alex, get them in. But what's your whole vision Or what's your view of this whole industry now with playing cards, custom decks? There's a lot of it out there, and I like this deck in particular because of the price point. It's supposed to be used, which I'm a big fan of. You buy decks because you want to use them. But tell me some thoughts about the industry when it comes to playing card design and things like that. And a lot of people, too, they always say, I would love to do that. Can you maybe shed some light into that, too?
100%. Yeah, this has been quite a journey. And, I started printing custom playing cards back in 2011 when the Blue Crown launched. So it was quite a few years ago, at least for me, because I like to think of myself as a young whippersnapper, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I was fresh out of college, and I decided I wanted to. I saw the people that I looked up to doing the things that I liked. Producing Magic, good quality Magic, and producing playing cards. And there was only a handful at the time. Back then. 2009, 10, when I was looking at these companies making cards, I was really inspired by them and sort of the work that got put into it, right? Because I love Magic anyway. I knew I wanted to be part of this industry. But making playing cards, I was like, I asked them, like Dan and Dave, for example, they were one of the tops, right?
Yep.
I asked them about the process, and it was very hard back then. It was very hard to produce playing cards. The process would take about 6 months to do, and you would have to wait to get an answer. They wouldn't respond to you. The custom playing card market wasn't, hey, anybody could email and get a response and produce a deck of cards, right?
Yep.
The minimums were 15,000 decks of cards back then, and they wouldn't even like respond to you if it was you were just a random person. So it took about 6 months to produce my first custom deck, and I designed the Crown decks and I submitted it. And actually, with the help of these guys, people like JB from Theory 11 and Dan and Dave, and they really helped me out in the beginning times. I worked with them a bunch. I put out stuff with Dan and Dave, and I have something on Theory 11. So they helped me through the process, and I produced the first deck, and it took like 6 months, and I got a whole bunch of decks sent to my warehouse, which is in the back of my New York apartment. I say warehouse, but it was just a storage unit, right? And I got the truck, and I go, man, and I looked. They opened up the truck, the back door, and I go, damn, I'm never gonna sell all of these.
That's funny.
And 3 days later, they were all gone. And this was the height of the market, right? So this was blue. And then I printed red, and I printed double the amount. And I go, well, if things go to plan, maybe they'll be there for a week. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And in 2 hours, they sold out.
Wow. That's sick.
And then I doubled that number up, and I took everything that I made, because I was so bad with, like, I went from a college kid taking quarters, right, off of, like, my mom's desk, right, so I could buy pizza every day, and I had no concept of money or anything, so I took everything that I made, and I put it into green crowns, and they sold out in 22 minutes flat on my site. Wow. So that was the journey of custom. So then after that one, I sat back because I only had the one design, and I go, I could actually make this a thing. But I had all sorts of ideas that sparked out from within me after that night, after the Green Crown launch. So that's when I started thinking about doing a site dedicated to this and how it will expand. And as you could see now, everybody's producing custom playing cards. Yeah. So that's a little history on sort of my journey with the custom playing cards. I don't know if that diverted from your original question, which I don't know what it was now. But
no, I was just looking for some insight.
Now, what I think about the market now is that I think it's very saturated in the fact that anybody can now produce. So I guess that was the story of what I was saying. Back then, it was hard for anybody just to produce cards. Now anybody can make 2,500 decks, or even possibly less, and get it out there. Now the problem with that is people only have so much shelf room in their house, right?
Yep.
I don't even have a house. You know, I'm moving up for the last 2 years. I've been traveling for 2.5 years, I would say, close to 3 now, actually. I've been traveling, and I have nowhere to store my decks. When I was starting off, I would get one case shipped to me, and a case would be 144 decks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 144 decks, I was like, where do I put all of this? Yeah, and they started adding up, so I started bumping it down to 12 decks each, right? Now I only get 2 decks for pictures, and that's it. And once they're gone, I don't have my own decks anymore.
Wow.
Which is really interesting because I have to go to magic shops and buy my own decks sometimes when they're sold out everywhere. And I've done that, and people have gotten me on video. They're like, no way. They pull out their camera to film this event of Alex Pandrea walking into a magic shop and buying NOCs because he needs cards.
That's hilarious, dude.
But I think it is saturated, but you just, as a consumer and as a person who loves this industry and loves playing cards, because there's a certain feeling you get when you do have a deck of cards in your hand,
Yep.
right? And that feeling is I think, important for us to be excited about performing, to be excited about practicing, right? So you have to have that perfect deck for you, right? And I think that you have to make a decision on what your future looks like in this industry. Is it going to be collecting like a bunch of cards that you'll never use and at an expensive price point? Let me just say that, because so many decks are coming out $10, $15, $18,
Mm-hmm.
like $20 for a deck of cards. And I mean, we've done that also, but that's only because if you print a very small number, but I'm talking about a very small number, or you have to justify that some way, right? A lot of the decks that we sell, we hardly make money on it because they are so cheap. But it's more important for me to get the decks into everybody's hands and have them use them day to day and have this be a standard, rather than honestly trying to make money off of playing cards, right? There's other ways to make money.
Yeah.
This industry is not you're not going to become super rich doing this, right?
Nope.
So my whole goal, and I say this with as much sincerity as I can, my whole goal is to make this a standard deck. I don't personally like bicycle cards. I think they're pretty ugly. We just got used to them. And we got used to them, and it's just the way it is. They're available everywhere. They're cheap. And this is what I'm trying to do with a much nicer design. I say design, it's not even a design. But it's not, if you're going to use bicycle cards, you're going to be just like the rest of them. It's the same thing I say when you say, look, please pick a card, okay? And I say this, again, with as much compassion for the diversity of this community, but I hate this. Please pick a card, because you're already putting yourself in the category of, I want to be like everybody else. Yeah, right. And I think, at least for me, this is my personal opinion, that you should strive away from that, and you should be your own person and do things differently than every other magician on the history of this planet, right? You do this, you're just like Uncle Joe. Hey, I know this trick. You go, oh.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But even the feeling of pulling out like this red deck of cards, right? Boom, you pull this out. You go, wow, this automatically starts off, wow, this looks cool, right?
Yep.
And then you start from there building your own persona. And this has, these cards have done justice for me over the last years, of just being me, right? I match them to my sneakers, I match them to my shirt or my jacket or whatever.
Dig it.
My underwear, right? It doesn't matter.
By the way, your video is frozen. I'm not going to tell you to stop talking, but your video it's been frozen for the last minute or two or longer. So, yeah. Yeah, it's on Skype on your end. But yeah, I mean, it's a good pose, so don't worry about it. I mean, you look cool, so don't worry about it.
I should have my glasses on.
But yeah, unfortunately it's frozen, so I can't see what you're moving around doing. But yeah, no, I like that you accessorize it with the rest of your stuff, though. I think that's kind of cool, because that's how a lot of people kind of explain custom cards these days. Is that It's like, you know, females that have their purses and their shoes. It's like that for magicians. These are like accessories, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess you could just hear me. So
it's all right. I mean, the sound's good. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, but I think it's a Skype issue, so that happens. No worries. So a couple questions. Someone said something about the Brick Pass. I guess Federico is a big fan of the Brick Pass. That's cool. Has nothing to do with the NOCs, but that's still pretty cool. Let's see if there were any other questions. And then we're going to start to wrap this up, guys, in about the next 5 minutes. We'll wrap this up next few minutes here. Alex, this comes in from James Horwood over on Facebook. Alex, great cards. Love them. Do you think people are looking for more and more from their decks nowadays? For example, Butterfly deck, Luke Germain, Marksman deck, etc. So yes, I guess in general, do you think people are looking for more from decks now, or do you think it just depends on what you want to do with them?
I think people are. So here's the thing: decks of cards that, let's say they're $10 and under, right? That's the cost of a coffee, right?
Sure.
Your day's coffee.
Well, if you go to Starbucks and you're a basic person, yeah.
Yes, I mean I don't drink coffee, so but I know the prices are like between $5 and $10 depending on whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
so you have to think of what you're getting for that price. Yeah.
Yep.
For $5, $6, $7, you're getting a deck of cards that has a duplicate, has a blank card, has a marking system. So we have, as the producers of these cards, like the Butterflies, and we've already put so much value into them. But stripping away all that value, I still think that it would be worth it to pay $7 for a deck of cards. It's just my personal opinion. $8, you know, $10 would be, I think, my sort of max, right? Unless it's a really limited sort of, you want to really display it, right? And there's just room for a few of those. But I think we have put so much value in because we feel that we have to, for the consumer to say, wow, what a great deal. I don't think that should be the case. Yes, these are extra bonuses, but just deck alone, $5, $6, $7, $8, good price for a deck of cards. But people that do put in a lot of value into it, again, I don't know the prices on the other decks, like the Butterfly and the Marksman and
sure.
things like that.
Yeah, they're higher. They're definitely higher, dude.
Yeah, but I think it's just about if you are going to use them, right? And what you use them for. So people that don't use the marking system on the NOCs, for example, they see it as a $5 deck of cards. Now, is the $5 deck of cards worth it for them? Most people would say yes, right? Then you add the value. Is a $5 deck of cards with a marking system worth it? Then hell yes, right?
Yep.
So on and so forth. So it just depends on if you're going to use them. If you're not going to use, if you're going to, you know, there's no point of buying the Marksman deck if you're not going to use the marking system, right?
Yeah.
So that's the value right there. Same thing with the Butterflies. You might actually buy them because they look really cool, right? So I would definitely buy a bunch of Butterflies without any other thing going on with them, right?
So even if they weren't marked, you would still want some of those, basically, is what you're saying.
Butterflies look dope, I gotta say.
Yeah, just the design is sick, yeah. And those are coming out this Friday, guys, so stay tuned.
There you go. I've been waiting for them, and I met Andre at Magic Live, and he's cool. A really cool dude, and yeah, the Butterflies are really elegant, cool-looking cards.
I did have another question about the marking system, Alex. This one comes in on YouTube. Forgive me if I'm not going to pronounce your name right. Anantak is saying, ask Alex if the NOC Summer Editions had the marking system he just showed in his latest video. So are those also marked in the same way that you were showing just a little while ago?
You mean these ones?
Ba-bum-bum.
Yes, 100%. All the NOCs, with the exception of version 1.
Okay.
And the version 1s are the ones with the thick border. All right. So I will show you the difference. Version 1s look with a thicker border. Version 2s, 3s, and NOC Originals all have thin borders, and all thin border ones are marked for suit. So yes, the summer editions are marked.
Sweet. All right, that makes that guy very happy, I'm sure, because he was pretty stoked to get that question in. Any different than the NOCs? Someone else just asked a question. I'm glad that you also answered that. Orlando also said, are the NOCs any different than the originals? So there you go. You just saw that the difference from the beginning of how they came out where they are now. It's the thicker borders. So there you go. That's cool.
Yeah. So a quick rundown. So the version 1s were in, and I wish I had one of each to show you, but like I said, I don't have any of my cards. I have 2 of each of the NOC Originals, and I'm saving these forever because I know one day they'll be sold out and I won't have any. Go to the magic shop and buy it. But I see my video's working now.
Yeah. You've been back for a couple of minutes now. Cool.
So the version 1s were a regular tuck, right? So a regular tuck with the black on the bottom, and we had a different logo, and it said minimal playing cards on there, and they were the color. The text was the color of the box, or the color of the cards, all right? And they had thick borders, and they were not marked. So that's version 1. The V2s were thinner borders with the marking system, and the minimal playing cards text was in white. So those are the difference between those two. Then the V3s we moved to Expert Playing Card Company, and we started printing them in the sideways tuck. This is a better version for you to see because it pops better. So we did the sideways tuck with Expert Playing Card, and this was the biggest version that we've done. And you guys all know this one for the last 3 years. And then we are now in today's date launching the NOC Originals. And because there's going to be a lot of versions of the NOCs over the next few months and going into years, I felt like we needed a standard name for them, so this is why we decided to go with NOC Originals. They are the 5 colors that you guys know and love, including the black. And they will be, the name will be NOC Originals, just so there's no confusion when other ones come out, right? These are the originals, these are the NOCs, NOCs, whatever turns you on, they are it. And they should be available sort of everywhere from here on out.
Yeah, dude, we're stoked, and I'm sure people are going to be stoked to get these in their hands. And, again, the price point, I think, is what really sets us over the top. You're going to get these and, for one, actually want to use them. And then number 2 is you're going to have a nice marking system in there. You've got the extra card and other stuff. So, it's a perfect deck for a magician. It's a perfect deck for a collector. Perfect deck for pretty much anybody that's looking to get their hands on some cards. And I think the biggest thing that I'm excited for you about is finding a way to make this work with the USPCC, because I know they're not easy to convince to do things sometimes. So that's pretty dope. You got a chance to do that with them. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and just keep in mind that this is just really the beginning. Even though we're 5 years into this brand, this is just the beginning of ideas, of concepts, and of really a new frontier for playing cards, standard playing cards that you would want to use day in and day out. So this is really, really just the beginning. And I'm glad to partner up with Murphy's on this, because my whole thing is get this everywhere, get this in everybody's hands. I want you to walk into your local magic shop and see NOCs right there and be able to buy them.
Yep.
So this relationship with you, Luke, and with the people over at Murphy's is obviously very important for us as a company, as a brand, and just me as a person. So I want to thank you guys.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. We're going to do everything we can to get those in those hands of the people that you're talking about, into those shops, so people can't miss them when they walk in there. They won't be able to miss those. And it is exciting to have something like this become like a new norm. We have this thing that, most decks are more expensive, but this is something that you're going to look at and go, yeah, I just need to stock up on more NOCs. Like, it's going to be just a thing. People are just going to start to, that's going to be their deck. So we're stoked. Yeah, dude. I want to thank you guys for all your questions. I think I grabbed as many as I could along the way. I was keeping an eye both on Facebook and on YouTube. We got most of those questions out of the way. I know a lot of the questions were about the marking. People still can't believe that they're marked. It's pretty cool. Also some other questions about the older ones, the differences, which is really good. the quality, and all that good stuff. I just want to make sure. Of course, there's people still asking what NOC stands for. We talked about that earlier. Alex always tells people in person. I know, but I'm not telling you. And speaking of seeing people in person, this is what we'll wrap up on, Alex, actually. It's a good segue here. If people do want to have a chance to see you in person, I know you're doing a lot of stuff online on YouTube, and you can, of course, talk about that after this, but will you be appearing at any conventions? Will you be anywhere doing more lectures? I know you've been touring the world for the last couple of years, doing lectures and tours overseas. Anything in the near future, if people do want to see you in person, that they can actually run into you and see you? And, if not, as far as the other stuff I was just talking about, like the YouTube stuff, where can they find you there too? So I'll let you take over and just plug away everything you're up to over there when it comes to Alex Pandrea.
Awesome, dude. So the most important thing for me is that I right now, what's most exciting is I did start a YouTube channel, which really my point was to get good, because I've been watching YouTube videos here and there, and I don't feel like the quality or what you learn on YouTube is up to par with what you should be giving the community. For the people that have no other route but to go on YouTube and watch videos and start to learn, because there's always a starting place for everybody, right? So I do have a few videos now up on YouTube on my new channel. I just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And I am doing tutorials and things like that. So I know a lot of people that do want to see me and everything. They get sort of get the behind the scenes through my YouTube channel, because I'm sort of done with traveling, at least for now, for doing lectures and things like that. For the past 3 years, I've been in over 100 cities, and I've done lectures and shows in over 100 cities, and I think the final number is 106 cities. So you could imagine that I'm tired. Yes. I have a few more commitments. I will be in Brazil in November. So in the beginning of November, I'm doing a convention in Brazil. And also there's going to be, I can't say too much about this, but there's going to be a convention in Vegas, a newly started convention by a friend of mine. And I don't know exactly how much I can say, so I won't say anything as of yet. But there's a new convention in Vegas, probably next year, if not probably in 2018, it'll hit the scenes. And we're working on something to do something like that. But always check my Instagram and now newly my YouTube, because I would always post if I do a meetup or if I do an impromptu session somewhere or a lecture anywhere. I always post about it. So, I mean, just kind of follow along my journey, and I love to communicate with it. If you comment on my YouTube, on my videos, I always try to comment back. Same thing with my Instagram, because I love this community, right? So
heard that.
Follow me around, not literally, but follow me around on all my socials to see what I'm up to, and hopefully I can meet people soon. Because for those who have met me, you can tell how much I like to sit down and jam and chat and just hang out and laugh and have fun with people.
Sweet.
I think that's sort of like the last word that I kind of want to say here, because.
All right. Very good. Very good. Are you going to be going to the convention? Are you going to Genie? I think you mentioned that to me the other day. Are you doing that or not?
I am going to Genie, and I don't know for sure if I'm going to have like a booth, or because the last 3 Genies I've had a booth.
Okay.
I might just go to hang out, because it is my birthday and I do want to go to Disney.
Heck yeah, man. Heard that.
Because I'm a kid at heart.
Me too.
And Epcot has the Food and Wine Festival.
Do it to it, man.
And
drink around the world.
Fall is my favorite season of all, and it's my favorite time of year, October and Halloween, and you get that crisp
Love it.
air, that cool air that you breathe in, and you get your little jacket on, and the leaves are on the ground, that orangey brownie feel.
Carry around your matching deck of cards.
Orlando, but I do want to do something for my birthday where I'm going to be in Disney and
Sweet. That'd be cool.
And do that. So I will be around for Genie. So if people are around for Genie, if I'm going to be at the convention or not, I will be at the convention. I don't know officially. Like, this is what I did for Magic Live. I just sat there by the bar and hung out.
Yep.
Right. I might have snuck into the dealer's booth. I'm not saying I did or didn't, but
I don't know. That'll be fun, dude. Oh, well, you know, it's been great chatting with you, and thanks for letting us be the first to have a look at the brand new NOC Originals and, you know, answering some of the questions along the way and sharing some of your experiences in the industry, because it is a shifting industry. Things are definitely moving and changing, but you've been a constant since I've been around. I would say since, you know, I've been around this stuff for quite a while too. And, you know, we've kind of gone through this together, you know, us and a lot of our other friends out there, but it's always fun to see what people are up to. And Alex is one of the good guys. So if you guys do have more questions about Magic, or if you want to see more of what he's up to, he is doing a lot of good with a lot of things he's doing, including his new YouTube channel. So definitely take a look at that.
Same thing with you, Luke, man. I just want to say that, like, I've known you for...
It's been a hot minute, man.
Before I've done any of this, right? We used to hang out in New York.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you're still in it and, like, at the top of your game, doing the stuff and always be relevant, right? That's what I figure. Never backtrack. Always be relevant. And this is something that you push, and a few, you know, very few people do that. So I'm glad to see you on here. We're both in Vegas, by the way, so I don't know why we are not. We're like 10 minutes away from each other, probably.
Alex likes to sleep in, so I figured, you know what, and I'm not dissing you for that, because if I had your lifestyle, I'd be sleeping until 12 o'clock too. But, you know, I'm a little a ways from him, so it's like, you know what, if he wants to come by the studio at night when he's actually waking up, that's cool. But if not, I'll just Skype you in. It's all good.
100%. Which the funny thing is, Luke, is like I got up super early today, and I say early, I don't say early in the sense of like a 24 period, but I sleep I don't sleep a lot at all. I got to sleep at 7 a.m. or probably 7:30 last night, because I was just making sure everything was ready for this release and everything, and then I got up at 11. So I had 4 hours of sleep, which is fine. And right after this is done, I'm going to actually film with somebody who lives in the complex of where I'm staying in Vegas, and you probably know who it is, but I'm not going to tell people just of yet.
I know
who that lives right next to me.
I know.
Yeah. So I'll meet him at the pool. We're going to jam a bit, and then we're going to come here and film a video.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, thing is, you know, you work hard and you put out as best of products that you can, and just keep doing your thing.
Well, if you end up going to that show with that person at some point, let me know. I would love to tag along, so hit me up.
100%. Oh yeah, that's a definite. So he said anytime.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
And I'll bring along a camera too, and we'll make a video out of it.
Yeah.
That's what we do these days. We don't actually enjoy life anymore. We just do stuff to film it, right? That seems to be the way life is these days.
You know, I set up some Instagram shots, like take the whole like half a day to set up, and I go to places and I do things, and sometimes I pay quite a bit of money to get that Instagram shot. It's kind of, I don't know how you would call that, how you would frame that into the world of Alex Pandrea, but just so people know, some of those Instagram shots are like, all right, that took half the day to get that shot. I
believe it. I saw you in the secret garden. I'm like, man, he's in there. You know, that's not an easy place to get into either, so yeah. Yep. All right, my friend. Well, you don't be a stranger as always, and I'm sure we'll see each other soon before you get out of town again. So thanks, Alex, and congrats again on the brand new goodness. And to everyone that's joining us right now, NOC Originals will be available, Magic dealers worldwide, very, very soon. So get excited and start hitting up your dealers. I see our buddy Max from Hocus Pocus is here. I'm sure they're going to be excited to stock those, and we have a lot of other friends out there too. So thank you for all of our other friends out there watching, hanging out, asking questions. And thank you again to Mr. Alex for having a drink with us and telling us about his cards.
Perfect, guys. All right. Anything, you just let me know or let Luke know, and I'm sure we'll answer all the questions. But keep in touch, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, Alex. We'll see you, bud.
See you, man.
All right, my friends, there you have it. One of the good guys in our industry, Mr. Alex Pandrea, hanging out, chatting about his brand new cards. And what a great ride. You know, he's started doing something. It continued to grow. And now he's turned into something probably bigger than he ever believed. And he's now teamed up with the USPCC, which is amazing. It's great. And these cards are great. And I'm stoked to get my hands on some, too. They're not even out yet. So when I get them, you guys will have, I'll show you some stuff. I'll do some stuff with them. So stay tuned for those. Very, very excited. And very excited, as always, to have you guys with us. We are live each and every Wednesday, if you don't know that, at noon Pacific here in Vegas. That is 3 p.m. Eastern Time.